Welcome to a place where we celebrate indie art, indie culture, and the people that color our world with their gifts. My name is Qamil. I'm your host, and this is the So Dope Show. So I would like to welcome to the So Dope Show, Beth.
Hey, hi, thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you so much for being here. So she's out in Detroit. Are you in Detroit now?
Yes.
Okay, so she's at home at the crib in Detroit. I know you'd be busy and you'd be on the road doing your thing. So
And we're off right now. We're taking a little break, which is great.
I bet it
Yeah.
is. All
Yeah,
right.
I've been traveling literally almost probably since February.
Wow.
Just off and on for the entire year. So it feels really good to be home. I'm looking around like, when did that get here? What is that? And, so that's how I'm feeling right now. Just really trying to be comfortable at home because I've been living out of a bag.
And that is something that we could talk about. So I'm an artist, and I know a lot of artists at various stages, and a lot of us are like, we want to get on the road, we want to go on tour, and it sounds very romantic, and all of those things. But what is it really like?
I mean, it is fun. I mean, I always wanted to be on the road. I love it, but I love being home too. And especially when you have a home that you love, then you really want to be home. So there is a romantic idea of being on the road, oh, we out on the road. And then it's that night that you get finished with the show and there's nothing open and you're starving.
Yeah.
And you're eating some saltine crackers. That's the part that's not cute. So yeah.
Yeah. Is there like favorite moments on the road? So for those of you who don't know, she has been touring, I think I read the last 8 years with Kim, and done some. Did you tour with Anita Baker, or you just sang?
I did. Toured with her 5 years.
Yeah. So for your experience, actually, as someone who has been on the road, you've been a lot of places and done a lot of things.
Been a lot of places.
Is there a favorite place, like a favorite city or country?
Yeah, actually, my favorite place is Johannesburg, South Africa.
Oh man.
That's like my ultimate favorite place. It's just nothing like being in Africa. First of all, period. It's just a beautiful, amazing place. So you have that, and then you have the fact that you're going with an artist and you don't have to pay for it. So it makes it even better. And you want to get paid, and then you want to do something you love to do, get paid for it. And it's a trip. That's one of my favorite things about singing is it has afforded me to literally travel this world. There's some countries I haven't been to that I would love to go to, and they're on the list. But I would, I'm enjoying the opportunity, the gift, the blessing of being able to travel, to tour, get paid, and you're doing something that you love to do.
That is.
So I absolutely love.
What a blessing. That is the goal. Well, let's go. Let's rewind to the beginning. So back to the bio, people, because some of you don't know. She's a Motown daughter. So this soul thing, this music is in your DNA. Absolutely. So in the beginning, of course, your dad was a funk brother, legendary. But for you, when did they put you in front of the church like they did a lot of us? Or did you decide kind of on your own that this music is it for me?
My parents saw something in me, but as a kid, I wasn't ready. I wasn't developed. And so I resisted it. I liked watching it. I liked being in the midst of it, but I didn't want to be up front. I remember as far back as, being a little kid during Easter, and they give me my little Easter verse, and you got to go up in front of church and, and I couldn't do it. I was terrified to stand up. I'm like, they looking at me. I'm not about to do this. So it wasn't a good thing when I was little. But what happened was I loved music so much and I loved to sing so much that the desire and the drive for me to do it never stopped. So I had to figure out how to get past the stage fright that I had. It still tries to creep up every once in a while, especially when I do solo stuff. But I had to make a decision on whether I wanted to allow the fear to govern me or I wanted to use my gift. And I knew by working with Anita Baker, by working with Kim for so long, that if I allowed myself to not push forward, I was just going to either be a background singer the rest of my life. And then when that artist decided they didn't want to do anything anymore, then I'm going to be back at home and be mad and frustrated, So I just was like, no, I gotta figure this out. So work past that. And I think one of the things that I did that frightened me the most, but I am so proud I did, was putting my first album out. I put my first album out in 2017. So that was really a big thing for me to do, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to do it.
Mhm.
And then the album comes out, and then I'm like, okay, I get a call to go on The Voice. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that. And so I told them no. And then they called back and asked me a second time. And the first time I said no, so my mother had gotten sick and I was taking care of her. So I was just
Mhm.
like, I can't do it because I'd have to move to LA and all this kind of stuff. And it just wasn't going to work. But they called a second time. My mother was better. And my husband and I talked. And so he was like, you better go, or, just take the chance to do something different. So I went. That was a great experience for me. Was able to build my fan base. But most importantly, I built my confidence.
Yeah.
And I felt self-assured, and I felt like, okay, if I can stand here in front of like 8, 9, 10 million people,
Millions
TV
of
cameras the
people.
same, yeah, like, and you don't realize how many people are watching you until you know you start talking to the show producers, and they're talking to you and they're prepping you, and they're like, well, it's going to be this many million people watching you. Like, what? Not just my mama watching me, like, so and so that was really a confidence booster for me. So me coming back from that show really changed my perspective of
Mhm.
myself.
Yeah.
It changed the trajectory of my career, and it just really it really helped me. It was a good thing for me to do that. And so came back home, start working on album number 2, continue to work with Kim.
Mhm.
Caught the eye of Eddie Levert, so I now work with the OJs as well.
Yes.
Um,
I'm gonna back up to The Voice. So I don't even know what season it was. A million
16.
ago. You did 16. No, I
Yes.
auditioned one year. I was
You
trying to
said
think.
what now?
I
Say it again.
auditioned. I'm trying to think of what year it was. So I only did the first part where it's like the crazy chaos and there's a billion people. Well, yours was a different experience but I went to like the call thing when it kind of first started, and it was nuts.
And
It was
that's why I said I would never do it, because
good. I
I
will never do it
thought
again.
that that's how they cast it for the show.
Yeah,
But then when I realized they cast the other way, like
yeah.
they,
Yeah,
so
they will find you now. Social media is a powerful thing. So
hmm
when I went, it was kind of when it was first starting, so they weren't doing that part yet. So you
yeah.
had to pick a city and go. Like, so I went to Chicago, and it was just one of the most fun but crazy things. But I left there like I would never do this.
But I get it,
Yeah.
because you see when the shows come on and all they show you is that line wrapped around
I
this
was in that
football
line.
field. And you like, oh, I don't like, you be like, as much as I love singing, I don't want to sing that
I
bad.
don't
Like,
want to sing that bad. You do meet cool people along the way.
yes, you
So
do.
coming out of that, 'cause I know people will see the show, and then I saw like you had an opportunity to work with John Legend and Kelly Clarkson
Yeah.
as coaches. And they both seem well. I'm partial to John because he's from Ohio, so
Okay, okay. And
Ohio.
he was awesome. That was his first season there that I was on the show.
Oh wow! Oh, he's like an OG of The Voice now. Um,
Right, right.
so in your experience coming out of The Voice, I would imagine that opened up opportunities for you. We don't always get to hear about the after the show because there's so many people along the years. Did it open doors or just kind of made
You
people
know, the only thing it did was me coming off the show, me living in Detroit, everybody in Detroit was calling me for something.
okay?
But I was already a working artist here.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much, you know,
Mm-hmm.
not really. I
You
mean, yes, but no, you know what I'm saying? I
got the
was already
footage.
on the road touring with the artist, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As I came home and went right back on the road, and people were booking me for shows. I think when you're a background singer and you tell people you sing solo, they don't necessarily always take you seriously. So then they see you on a TV show, then they start taking you seriously. So I was on the show 2019, 2018 prepping, 2019 the show airs the top of 2019. The show's over in April. I come back home, and um, the phone started ringing, which is great. I started
Mhm.
doing shows, but then, and I'm working up until the end of the year. And then, okay, we all know what happened at the top of 2020.
We did.
So everything that I had started being excited for, prepping for from 2019 going into 2020, changed.
Yeah.
So I would say, yes, the show helped with me building a fan base, growing my fan base. But that's it, because the show really, after you're off the show, they don't have anything to do with you.
Yeah, because I know, like, when I watch a show and there's contestants that I really like, then I'll go find them on Instagram or whatever and follow their career. So I imagine it's cool in that way, because people are like, okay, Team Beth, and we out here. What you doing now? What you got going on, girl?
Right. That's about it. I mean, even the girl that won my season,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so it's like, okay, and it's really basically for you to take the momentum that you
Use
have
it.
built,
Mhm.
gained, whatever, and then you have to run with it. They're not going to.
Yeah, and I think people shouldn't really go looking for that. Use it.
But they do,
Yeah, I
because
know.
it keeps you up. But the difference is the voice is different than American Idol.
Yeah.
American Idol kind of does something with their
Yeah.
people. The
Mhm.
voice doesn't.
Oh,
So
yeah, because AI does like touring and like set all this stuff up because they can keep getting the money. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Okay.
I wish the voice would figure that out,
I
but
know. 37 seasons in, you would think so.
what? Right?
So let's talk about Kim. How did that happen that you ended up in that?
Yeah, Kim is from Detroit. So it was one of those things where I had worked with Anita, toured with her for about 5 years, and got a call that he was just looking to replace his singers, make some changes, some personnel changes or whatever. I wasn't with her anymore. And I was just kind of doing some session work around town and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And a friend of mine knew Kim's manager, reached out to her and let her know that, he had known she was looking for somebody. And Kim and I literally actually met face to face on a movie set. So they were filming Sparkle here in Detroit, which is Whitney's last movie.
I don't
Kim
know.
had a
Yes,
camp.
we're going right into it.
Yeah. So that's the
Okay.
segue, right? But
Okay,
this is
perfect.
crazy part. So they're filming Sparkle in Detroit, and so his manager, I look at him and his manager and I were kind of talking back and forth. She was getting to know me, and before
Mhm.
she even introduced me to him, kind of betting me and
Yeah, yeah.
finding out stuff. And so we were on the movie set and literally met. She and I met in person, and then she goes, "Well, Kim is here," and I'm like, "What?" She goes, "He has a cameo in the movie." So she takes him to his trailer. He's got the star on there. It's Kim. He comes out. I meet him, and he goes, "Okay, nice to meet you." And I'm like, "Well, hope I can work with you one day." Well, that was crazy. He was like, "So what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I'm Whitney's body double." And he goes, "Oh." So it was just crazy. So yeah, so that's how we literally met on the
Kind of a
set.
thing.
It was crazy.
That's kind of a
And
thing.
which goes on to
Body
the Whitney
double.
story, which I
Yeah,
end up
yeah.
being a body double on her stand-in for the Sparkle movie. So yeah.
So to be a body double, do you like audition for it, or they kind of like somebody send you? How the heck does that happen?
Listen, if I knew, but really, they were just doing an open casting for extras for the movie.
Uh-huh,
And she my measurements, my height, my shoe
uh-huh.
size, everything. Because when you're the stand-in or body double, you really need to be as similar in
Mhm.
physical characteristics of the person that you're copying or standing in for, whatever. And so yeah, we're pretty much same height, same shoe size. I could wear her clothes because I had to wear her clothes for some stuff, and I was just like, oh my god, this is what sweater.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, so stuff like that. But so I just filled out the paperwork to be an extra in the movie. And they had one particular scene for me, some club scenes or something they wanted me to be in. But I think at the time I was going out, I think I was still with Anita. I might have been, or I had something to do. I
Mhm.
may not have heard that time, but I can't remember. But I had something to do and I just couldn't do it. So I remember the lady called me and she says, "Well, we have this part for you." And I was like, "I can't do it." She says, "Well, I can't promise you, we'll call you back." I said, "Please,
Oh,
please."
yeah.
Because Whitney's like my favorite singer ever. Listen, I was just like, oh my God. And they literally called me back. And when they called me back for the part, they didn't tell me what it was for.
Oh,
They
okay.
just said, "We have something for you. We need you to come down here." And I'm like, "Well, what is it?" They was like, "We just need you to come down." It was me and a couple other girls, and they just kind of sized us up. And then next day, I got a call. I was like, "You got the part," and I'm like, "But what's the part?
What to do? What?
What are we doing?" And they were like, "Oh, you're gonna be a body double and a stand-in." I'm like, and they were like, "For Miss Houston." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So the next day, like I reported to this little old. We have an area in Detroit that is real vintage looking, and they made it into an old dress shop. It was a scene in the movie, if you remember Sparkle, the dress shop. So I had to report there that morning, and we were standing around and waiting for her to come in. And when she came in, I was just like, so it was the most amazing. I totally fanned out, but yeah, it was.
I mean,
it
was Whitney Houston. You can't like as much as you would try to contain and be like cool as a cucumber. It's freaking Whitney Houston. Like,
yeah, I've fanned out over a couple people in my life, and she's one. You know, Gladys. I've had an opportunity to meet Gladys. I fanned out. Patti LaBelle. I fanned out. Aretha Franklin. I fanned out. Like I'm just standing there, and I'm like. They set the tone for Black women in music. You know what I'm saying? And then when you see them, and then they're real, and you're just like, oh my God.
Did you see Patti LaBelle's Drink Champs episode?
I saw clips.
It's so good.
I've got to
feel like, let me go do everything right now. Like as a Black woman, as an artist, is probably one of the most inspiring and fun and reason I've ever seen. Like
I want to watch that because that's the mode that I'm in right now. I'm in that mode. Like, listen,
I didn't
get it.
Get
it while you get it. Yeah.
That she was talking and she was fun, and I'm like, man, this woman has been here for so much, and she's telling stories, you know, Prince and Elton John and all this stuff, and how she cooks for everybody. So yes, watch it. Like, as soon as you have some downtime, you're gonna
thank you.
I needed it. Yeah. Man, you met Aretha.
Yeah, that was crazy. My dad was her first touring keyboard player.
Wow.
So my father actually worked with her. So that was really cool because my dad used to tell me stories about Aretha Franklin all the time. And I'd be like, you don't know Aretha Franklin, you know? And so when I met her and I told her, because my father's since deceased, and I met her and I said, oh, you worked with my dad. And she was like, oh, your daddy, we had a ball. That was my first keyboard player on the road. And I was like, oh my God, he was
alive. I mean, he probably knew everybody. Yeah, I can imagine the stories that man could tell.
Some of them he took to the grave with him, I promise you.
I'm like, Motown, and being a musician and things he just was in the room for that they talk about. So what an awesome legacy for you.
Yes, I'm honored. Thank you.
It's really, really beautiful. Let's see. I really want to talk about your music, and then I have some fun stuff.
Yay, okay.
So let's talk about the favorite. The new album, the cover is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah, really luxurious and stuff. And I always say, one of my things, Black people deserve luxury. We deserve to be luxurious and look lavish, and that is exactly what
candles and moments, you know. Yes,
all of it, and the fur and the lights and all the things. So that is definitely what this cover is getting. So the album is Get to Know Me.
Yes.
So let's talk about when you decided this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to name it, and this is kind of what direction I want to go.
The name of the album, I'll start with that. That just kind of came probably at the end. I had no idea what I was going to name the album. Mm-hmm. I had worked on all the songs, and I think the actual title cut to the song or to the album, Get to Know Me, was one of the last songs we even recorded. Mm-hmm. And I think we had gone over everything. And, you know, I can be really, you know, weird sometimes. I was just like, oh my God, we have 11 songs. We can't just have 11. It has to be an even number. We need another song. He's looking at me like, you know, that doesn't matter. I'm like,
feels weird. Yes, it does matter.
And so he goes, what kind of song do you want? I said, I need something upbeat. I need something with a little fire. And so we came up with Get to Know Me. I loved the beat of it, and I loved what we wrote about. And after we finished with that song, I said, that's the title of my album, and that's my story. That's going to be my theme for this album, Get to Know Me, because that song actually talks about what my life has been since. And I have to say, after coming off the show, the voice doesn't define me, but that changed a lot of stuff because that put me out in the public. Mm-hmm. And so people that didn't know me had their own idea and perception of me. And my thing is, now my first album was one way with me not knowing what I was doing, not knowing how to do it. This second album, I have better awareness and knowledge of the music, of me, what I wanted it to sound like. So I'm like, this is the perfect title, Get to
Yeah.
Know Me, get to know me. And then I'm getting to know me too at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's like every project you're different, the same person but different. Like especially if there's
Hmm.
years between and you go
Hmm.
through stuff in between and you evolve or grow,
Hmm.
and there's just like I got new stuff to talk about now,
Yeah,
or I have new ways to talk about what I used to talk about before.
exactly.
Now I have a little bit more insight, a little different perspective on situations as a songwriter and as how you deliver music. Like if you go through some pain, there's a little more angst in your voice. And you fall in love, there's a little more bounce in your voice as life progresses.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite song on the album?
Not yet. I love all 12 of them. I have 12 new children, 12 new babies,
Yeah.
and I love them all. And I'm listening to the songs every day, and I'm just getting more acclimated to the songs. I mean, you told me you auditioned for The Voice, so you get this whole singing thing.
Yeah.
You write a song, but
Yeah.
you don't know the words because you just poured it out. And then somebody says singing, you be like, well, I got to go learn my own song. So
Yeah.
I'm in the process of learning these songs right now. I'm in the process of getting comfortable with them and living with them.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably know my favorite. And sometimes you don't have a favorite. You just like everything. But right now I'm just trying to learn all the songs. I'm trying to see which one feel the best to me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But I do know that
Go ahead.
because we first started with um Let Me Be, we kind of voted that that was a strong song to start with.
Mhm.
For the people that pre-ordered on iTunes, that was an instant gratification song. So you pre-order and they automatically gave you Let Me Be.
Okay.
So that song has kind of been, gnawing at me, maybe a little bit more than the other ones, only because I've had to hear that song so much
Yeah.
more. I've actually had to perform that song
Okay.
already. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. When you get to performing the songs, that's when I think it really sets in, and it just like, and then you get to even for how you feel, but also crowd interaction, and you can see
Yes.
the audience responds to it because that stuff really matters.
It really, really matters. You singing your heart out and
Yeah.
everybody's like,
Then you're like that maybe it might be my favorite, but
yeah,
maybe not
but
so
that
much.
might be my favorite, but they don't like this one. So let me go to the next song, right?
Kind of okay, kind of lukewarm. So let me try this one, and then it's too like it might be a song that, of course, you're gonna love that, like your babies, but it might not necessarily be the one you would pick to perform. But that's the one that people like the most.
It's always that one is not your favorite, and that's the one everybody
Yes,
wants.
always
Yeah.
happens like that.
Mhm. So that's why I'm trying to be as non-partial as I can
Yeah,
and don't get too attached to it because they're gonna be like, sing Mary Had a Little Lamb. I'm like, I don't even want to say, well, that's the one we want. And that's the one you have to sing.
like
So
okay, yeah, it's different getting to know, like you said, getting to know your own songs, sitting with them, because
mhm.
the creating process and the studio process and the performing it process is very different.
Yes, it
I would
is.
say artists, I always ask artists if they had to pick which one of those two things to do,
Mhm.
which one is your favorite? Because some people love studio, hate the stage. Some people love the stage, hate the studio. Understandably, because you can sing the same word over and over again
Right.
for hours till you get it right.
Right.
But for you, is there one that you prefer over the other?
The live is my favorite.
Yeah.
Um, and this is may sound very shallow, but when it's live, you get to dress up and be cute.
Yes.
So you
And
get
you
to
be
sing.
dressing.
I love clothes. I love clothes so much. And so when you perform live, you get the singing, you get the fashions, you get the drama.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in the booth, you better not come in there with all that mess on. Well, nothing, you
No.
won't be able to deliver because
Okay.
So, but I do love the creating process too. That is one of my favorites. Performing would be 10, creating would be 9.
Yeah.
I, yeah.
I feel the same way. And it maybe for me a slight edge to writing because it's
Mm.
like, oh yes, like oh, I'm really good at this. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and then with performing, it's just a lot. Lights, camera, action, people, energies, which is exciting. And it's like this high that only an artist would know what that is like.
When you come off that stage, you feel
Come off
like a
the
truck
stage.
hits you and you ready
Yeah.
to just,
Eat
it's like somebody let
something.
the air out of a balloon. You got
Yes, that's exactly what it feels like.
yeah.
Like pajamas and chicken wings and you pull it like
Listen,
wing,
snatch those lashes off and
yeah.
go. Like,
All the adrenaline and the
yeah,
building up, getting dressed, the hair, the makeup, the
yeah,
this shoe, that shoe, you're on the stage, the musicians, the like, and
yes,
it's a lot.
yeah,
But what a life. Like I wouldn't can't imagine picking anything else
yeah.
personally.
I love
Okay, so question, one of my favorite questions. If I was to, like I am, going to introduce you to people, and I had to introduce you with one of your songs,
it. Hmm.
what song would you want me to play for them first?
Ooh, that's a good question. I gotta only pick one.
One song. So I'm like, yeah, I'm listening to this artist, Beth. Let me play something for you. What am I playing?
Um, I think to start right now.
It's a hard question.
Ooh, I,
Like, how do I
uh,
wrap myself up in one song? Like, hmm,
um, I think I will actually go back to my first album.
okay.
There's a song called "Free" on my first album. And that song is very special to me because that was the song that I wrote based on me making the decision to step out and be a solo artist.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me saying, I'm going to free myself from the limitations and bondage that I put on myself. So I
You have
think
a
that song
video
is
for
still
that one, right?
very relevant. Huh? Say that again?
You have a video for that one, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Hmm.
you look beautiful in that video. I watched it last night.
Thank you. Thank you. That is just, I think that song really, even though there's a new album out, that song still will always be performed. And it's very, um, it's a definition of me. It still
Yeah.
stands as a definition of me. I think we, as women too, we always fight for our freedom
Yeah.
to be able to express ourselves and be ourselves and still take care of home and do everything. The
Yeah.
same time, balance and juggle. So that, I think that song really defines me as a whole
Mhm.
between both albums.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
That's a good one. I think that I watched the video. It's just visually, it's beautiful, and the message of the song. I don't know who that wouldn't resonate with because
Thank you.
who
Thank
doesn't
you.
want to be free? And I think
Absolutely.
that's one of those songs that will just be for you.
Mm-hmm.
You can play it and it's relevant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so we got like
I wanted to pick something off the second album, but I was trying and I was like, I gotta tell like how I really, really feel. Like
yeah,
this album
yeah,
is, I love everything on that album, but that Free song is just, yeah.
yeah. All right, so I got some rapid fire fun questions. We got like 8 minutes
Uh-oh.
cut off. Um, you mentioned that there are some places you want to go. What would be
Hmm.
off the top of your head? You can go to a country tomorrow and saying where would it be, or any place.
Probably Asia.
Asia. Okay. And
Somewhere in Asia. Yeah.
somewhere in Asia. When you're not on stage, what are you doing for fun?
Sleeping and shopping.
I love sleeping.
And shopping. I'm laying in the bed
Okay.
shopping. That's what I'm doing.
Oh yeah. Yes. Those are my yes. So I have a newborn, so yes.
Oh, of course. You need
Absolutely.
things.
Absolutely. As a support vocalist, would you encourage artists to do that? Because a lot of people don't be like, oh, doing backgrounds. I don't know. I'm a solo artist. Do you think it is a good door opener?
It can be, and it depends on how you approach it. If you are just wanting to do background, that's one thing, but you have to have a targeted artist and level of artist that you want to work for, and that can elevate your career. Everybody's not meant to sing solo, and everybody's not meant to sing background. Just because you can sing doesn't mean you should, you know what I'm saying? So, you know.
It's not my shining point. Okay. If you were to have an R&B dinner party and you could invite
Mhm.
5 artists, dead or alive, to talk about whatever, who
Ooh,
coming to your dinner party?
Whitney, Aretha, Luther, Patti LaBelle.
You was flying through them too. One
Yeah,
more.
because those are like my,
Yeah.
they would have stories beyond stories. And maybe you know what, who I would have. There's two other people I would love to have, but I'd balance it out. I probably with Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye. I would love to know what Marvin Gaye thinks about what's going on.
Listen,
that wrote itself.
that just their stories alone, because he would be tying the old with some of the new and the stuff. Oh yeah, I would just love it. Oh.
To see him take a look at what's happening now. Let us know what he thinks about that. I think that is it. Okay, we do this thing on the So Dope Show. I got to get my timer. It's called 30 Seconds of Joy.
Ooh, I love that.
Take 30 seconds to just gush about something that you love. It could be literally anything. We've had a range of things. So something that excites you that you want people to know about. So I'm going to we want to start in 3 seconds. You got your thing?
Yeah, I'm ready. I know right off the top of my head.
All right, here's 30 Seconds of Joy with Beth, starting now.
My 30 seconds of joy is that my new album dropped September 30th, and all I wanted was a good album, but my album is great. We debuted at #1 on Amazon on the US new releases, the R&B soul chart. We debuted at #6 on iTunes, so that is my joy. I'm so excited for everybody that pre-ordered. I'm excited for everybody that downloaded. I'm excited for all of the streams that we're getting. I'm excited every time I see the Facebook ads. I'm excited every time I see the Pandora ads. I'm excited every time I see the charts, and we're still on the charts. I'm excited because the phone has been ringing. I'm excited to do these interviews. I'm excited because I get to get new clothes because there's going to be new shows coming up. New places. I'm so excited. Y'all have no idea. I am bubbling on the inside. Everybody keeps asking me, how do I feel? I can't explain it because I'm so excited. I'm going to have the time of my life for the rest of 2022, going into 2023 and beyond. I hope you all see me in a city, in a state, in a country near you. Amen. Buy this album and enjoy it. Was that my 30 seconds?
It was a little, yes. I was like listening up. It's yes to the timer. That is exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a debut, and it's just getting started.
Yeah, so. I'm over the moon. I'm over the moon, like just over the moon, for real.
Thank you so much.
Yay. Thank you for having me.
So Dope Show.